According to the verse John chapter 20:31, Gospel of the Bible is that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God. In order for us to comprehend this correctly, we need to first understand the meaning of the Christ and why we call Jesus as Christ. In fact, the whole Bible was written to tell us about this. Well, there is much content to be shared in explaining the gospel. But currently, we are dealing with different parts of the gospel, topic by topic, to have an overall understanding of Christ. Christ came to this earth to save mankind. We are mired in serious problems which cannot be solved by our own efforts. That's why our Lord had to come and rescue us from them. Then what are the real problems that we face? There are countless of problems and symptoms we see, but when we trace back to the root cause, we'll find out that all sufferings were caused by the separation from God. Why were we separated from Him? Because of sin. Why did we sin? Because of Satan. That's what we covered through the previous videos. In a nutshell, after we were deceived by Satan to sin and be separated from God, all problems came to our life. Therefore, to solve the problems of humanity, we need the Christ who will defeat Satan, redeem sin, and restore the relationship with God. I dealt with these fundamental problems until the last video, and starting from today, I will begin to explain about the qualifications of Messiah. Messiah, or Christ, should come as the seed of the woman and crush the head of the serpent, according to Genesis chapter 3:15. It's prophesied that he should defeat Satan. In Isaiah chapter 53, verse 5 and 6, the Lord had laid on him the iniquities of us all. The Christ will carry all our iniquities, and according to Isaiah chapter 7:14, he will come to this earth as Emmanuel, as a way to be with God. Messiah will come to defeat Satan, to solve sin problem, and open up the way to meet God. Different prophecies were made regarding the coming of Messiah to give us a clue who is the real Messiah or Christ. That is the Old Testament. Although there are various opinions among theologians on prophecies, but many agree that there are at least 300 prophecies foretold the coming of the Messiah. How would you tell if someone is the Messiah? The person should fulfill over 300 prophecies in his life. This cannot be done by human efforts or will. In order to determine whether someone is the Messiah, we need to check if he lived according to the Bible. Does he fulfill the prophecies made in the Bible? Does he defeat Satan, solve sin problem, and open up the way to meet God? If you can see somebody who fulfills this criteria, then he surely is the Messiah. This and the next video will talk about messianic prophecies and their fulfillments. Genesis chapter 3:15 foretold that Messiah would come as the offspring of woman. Galatians chapter 4, verse 4 and 5 says, "But when the set time had fully come, God sent His Son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those under the law, that we might receive adoption to sonship." As mentioned in these verses, the Messiah came from the seed of the woman. This is also related to the virgin birth. Isaiah chapter 7:14 says, "Therefore the Lord Himself will give you a sign. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and will call him Emmanuel." You may find the fulfillment of this verse in the book of Matthew and Luke. Luke chapter 1 verse 27 says, "To a virgin pledged to be married to a man named Joseph, a descendant of David. The virgin's name was Mary." Verse 31 says, "You will conceive and give birth to a son, and you are to call him Jesus." These verses confirm that Jesus came to the earth through a virgin birth, and the prophecy was fulfilled. Messiah would come through the lineage of Abraham and David. This was prophesied in the Old Testament several times. In Genesis chapter 12:3, God told Abraham that, "I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you will be cursed. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." There are other verses in book of Samuel where David received the prophecies that through his seed Messiah would come. Matthew chapter 1:1 clearly states, "This is a genealogy of Jesus the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham," which shows that Jesus the Messiah came to the earth as a descendant of Abraham and David. The massacre that King Herod ordered against the innocent babies was also foretold in the Bible. In Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 15 says, "A voice is heard in Ramah, mourning and great weeping. Rachel weeping for her children, and refusing to be comforted because they are no more." When Jesus was born, the Magi from the east came to Jerusalem to worship him. When King Herod heard the news that Christ, Emmanuel, was born, he ordered the killing of all baby boys 2 years old or younger. This incident was prophesied and fulfilled. In public, Jesus always spoke in parables. This was foretold as well. In Psalm chapter 78, verse 2, it says, "I will open my mouth with a parable. I will utter hidden things of old." And in Matthew chapter 13, 34, Jesus spoke all these things to the crowd in parables. He did not say anything to them without using a parable. Jesus used parables, and even this was according to the prophecy. The victorious entry of Jesus into Jerusalem was prophesied in Zechariah chapter 9, verse 9. "Rejoice greatly, daughter Zion. Shout, daughter Jerusalem. See, your king comes to you, righteous and victorious, lowly and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey." It was prophesied that Messiah would ride on a donkey and enter Jerusalem in triumph, and Jesus fulfilled it. There also are prophecies of betrayal by a friend. One of them is Psalm chapter 41, verse 9, that says, "Even my close friend, someone I trusted, one who shared my bread, has turned against me." Judas Iscariot, one of the closest disciples of Jesus, eventually betrayed Jesus. This was prophesied. 30 pieces of silver, the price for which Judas Iscariot betrayed Jesus, was also prophesied in Zechariah chapter 11, 12. It says, "I told them, if you think it best, give me my pay. But if not, keep it." So they paid me 30 pieces of silver. In Matthew chapter 26, 15, it says, "What are you willing to give me if I deliver him over to you?" So they counted out for him 30 pieces of silver. The whole life of Jesus was the fulfillment of Old Testament messianic prophecies. I just shared a few of them, and I told you about how some of the prophecies were fulfilled. Often people say lightly, "You will receive salvation when you believe Jesus." In fact, much more are included in that statement. I will continue with the other messianic prophecies and how Jesus fulfilled them in the next video. Thank you.